Corinthians 2:11, he said, we are not ignorant of his devices, lest Satan gains advantage over us. Maintenance of your ignorance is the enemy's advantage over you. Look at somebody and say, it's dangerous to be ignorant of the devices of the adversary. One of the problems with the Church of Jesus Christ, I've been preaching for 35 years now, one of the problems of the Church of Jesus Christ is the fact that we are ignorant of our opponent. It's difficult to fight an enemy you don't know exists, number one. And two, it's very dangerous to fight an enemy when you don't know his strength and his weaknesses. Before NATO went to war with Libya to deal with Gaddafi, they knew his strength and they knew his weaknesses. And he was a strong man of Libya. And therefore, the only way you could free those people was to deal with a strong man. And it takes one stronger than the strong man to take him out. And the Bible said, he who comes from above is above all. Is above all. In dealing with the enemy, you need to deal with the enemy from a heavenly perspective and not from the earth perspective. I want you to understand that, because I'm dealing with engaging the enemy, binding the strong man. And if you are going to succeed in engaging the enemy and in binding the strong man, you have to deal with the enemy from a place of understanding. You got to go past even knowledge to the place of revelation. Because it's one thing to have knowledge. Knowledge is the acquisition of information. And there are three levels of knowledge. Sense knowledge, which you acquire from going to school. Experiential knowledge, which is the knowledge that comes to you by the things you've been through in life. Then revelatory knowledge, prenostos. And prenostos is the highest level of knowledge. And that is the kind of knowledge that Peter walked in when he said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus said, flesh and blood has nothing to do with what you just said, Peter. If you have lived 1,000 years upon the face of the earth, and you have studied from the best of schools in the world, from Harvard to Oxford to Cambridge to Princeton and to all the best of the school, Yale, and read all the books of history, you would have never been able to understand and to acquire the knowledge you just had about who I am. I am the Christo, the Son of the living God. And he said, logic and philosophy, brilliance and being intelligent has nothing to do with what you just said. Jesus said this is prenostos. This is advanced knowledge. This is divine intelligence that was just downloaded into your spirit by my Father which is in heaven. Then Jesus said, and unto thee, not to any of the apostles, Peter, but to thee only will I give the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And what things soever you bind on the earth shall be bound, and what you loose on the earth shall be loosed. So there are loosables and there are bindables, and you got to know what to bind and what to lose. And he said, Peter, the Bible said in the book of Job 38, he said, understand it. He said, knowest thou the ordinances of heaven, that you may have rulership or dominion on the earth? So understanding the ordinances of heaven gives you the audacity or the authorization to rule in the earth. You cannot have rule in the natural if you don't understand the ordinances of heaven. And Jesus said, Peter, you just broke into the intelligent network of heaven, which gives you the access to know the decisions of eternity. And because you can hear from my Father and know the decisions of heaven concerning the matters of the earth, concerning the events of the earth, you will know what heaven has bound, so you can enforce it on the earth. And you will know what is loose in heaven, so you can enforce it on the earth. And he said, I give you the keys. Thank you, Lord. Yes. Look at somebody and say, it's time to engage the enemy. I want you to hear me carefully. You can never have victory and walk in 100% victory as a believer if you don't understand the rules of engagement. If you don't understand who controls this earth and who the God of this world is, you will always be disadvantaged. And it doesn't matter how successful you are in the natural, it's just a matter of time. Just one move of the enemy, you go down. And I've seen some great people lose it. I had a friend many years ago. He had 300 churches here in the United States. His main church in Texas was over 12,000. It was on TBN. He was very big, huge. And one time, some friends of mine, we were in Seattle, Washington, and we were on a boat going to British Columbia in Canada. And these friends of mine served on his board. And I said, tell Larry that he has to go past the Lord's Prayer. He got to go past our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I said, tell him he has to begin to engage the enemy, because he's operating in a dimension from city to city, and he's picking fight with the enemy. And he has to engage the enemy, because if he doesn't engage the enemy will take him down. And because I come from Africa, and we don't do too many things in Africa like you do it here. So when they told him, he didn't take what I said serious. And he went to a city in California and had a great move of God in that city. Very sophisticated media network and systems and everything. But spiritually, there was no spiritual strength. There was no spiritual barriers and buffers put in place to block the enemy. And the enemy came after him and everything. The church, everything. He just lost everything. And I remember I was preaching in a church in Baltimore many years ago. David Brown's church. A guy called David Brown. Big church in Baltimore in those days. It doesn't exist anymore.